There comes a moment in every life when the world stops clapping, when the lights go out, when you're no longer the champion, but the one crawling the dirt, choking on your own doubt. A moment where silence gets loud, where you look in the mirror and think, is this all I am? Let's be honest, not many people talk about that moment, but that moment is the beginning, not the end. See, everyone celebrates success, the applause, the wins, the breakthroughs, but no one claps when you're gasping for air, when fear strangles your will, and failure sits like a weight on your chest. You know the feeling, the moment you fall short, the moment they stop believing in you, or worse, you stop believing in yourself. That's where the real test begins, because failure doesn't whisper, it screams. And fear grows loudest right before your next breakthrough. But here's what they never told you. Failure is not your enemy. It is your furnace. It is your mirror. It is the doorway through which every fearless soul must walk. You were not born weak. You were not born broken. You were born unshaped. And what you call failure is just the fire sculpting you into something unstoppable. Every tear you've cried, every moment you've doubted, every voice that said, you can't, that was never your ending. It was your call to rise. You don't become fearless by winning. You become fearless by surviving what should have crushed you. So if you're on the ground, if you feel like giving up, good. That means you're in the arena. You're in the fight. You're in the becoming. Because here's the truth. The greatest version of you, the most powerful, relentless, unstoppable version of you, doesn't come from comfort. It comes from chaos. It comes from collapsing and choosing to stand up anyway. It comes from failure. Again and again and again, until fear doesn't frighten you anymore. You are not meant to stay small. You are not meant to break and never rebuild. You were meant to fall and rise and rise and rise until the word fearless isn't just a description. It's your identity. So here's the question that will shape your future. Will you let fear decide your fate? Or will you rise with shaking hands and say, I will not be defined by what broke me. Stand up, speak louder, fail boldly, love harder, leap farther, try again and again and again, because this is the beginning of a new fire inside you. But this was only the first punch. The greatest war you'll ever fight won't be against the world. It won't be against critics. It won't be against circumstances. It will be against your own mind. The battlefield isn't out there. It's in here. That voice, the one that tells you to stop, the one that says, you're not good enough, you'll fail again, you're wasting your time. That voice is a liar. But if you don't confront it, it will control you. People think fear is about danger, about threats, about risk. No, fear is a story your mind tells you to keep you small, to keep you safe, to keep you silent. You know the one. What if I fail again? What will they think of me? What if I'm not ready? But what if the real danger is never finding out who you could have been? What if the pain of regret is worse than the pain of failure? Because let me tell you something. Fear doesn't show up to stop you because you're weak. It shows up because you're getting close. Close to growth. Close to change. Close to becoming someone you haven't met yet. You don't need to feel brave to be brave. You don't need to erase fear to rise. You just need to act while it's still screaming. Fear is loudest right before the leap, right before the breakthrough, right before the becoming. That shaking in your chest, that's not weakness. That's potential waking up. That doubt in your mind, that's your old self begging you not to leave it behind. But you're not here to stay the same. You're not here to coast. You're not here to live safe and die quiet. You're here to fight, to push through the noise, to keep moving with sweat on your face and fire in your gut. Because courage isn't a roar. It's the whisper that says, do it anyway. So if you're in your head right now, wrestling with fear, crushed by self-doubt, paralyzed by overthinking, good. That means you're in the fight that matters most. It's not about eliminating fear. It's about choosing power over panic, purpose over paralysis, faith over fear. Because on the other side of that war in your mind is a version of you that doesn't just survive, but soars. And that version of you, they're already waiting. But you've got to break through to meet them. So here's your challenge. Silence the noise. Confront the voice. Deal it afraid. Deal it anyway. Today, take the step your fear says not to. Say the words. Send the message. Make the move. Not when you're confident. Not when you're fearless. But now, because the ones who become legends aren't the ones who never feared. They're the ones who fought the battle and refused to lose. But this was just the war inside. You've conquered the voice in your head. But now, the world has something to say. They'll doubt you. They'll laugh at you. They'll whisper behind your back. Who does this person think they are? You'll hear, you've changed. You're not ready. You should slow down. Let them talk. You weren't built to be understood by people who settled. You were built to break the mold. Here's the truth. The higher you climb, the louder the resistance. Not because you're doing something wrong, but because you're finally doing something real. They'll project their fears onto you. They'll try to clip your wings because they're afraid to grow their own. You'll feel pressure, eyes watching, judgment rising. But let me ask you this. Are you going to shrink every time someone raises an eyebrow? Are you going to hold back your greatness because others feel small around it? Or are you going to rise anyway? If you want to be fearless, you have to stop waiting for permission. Permission to speak, to lead, to try, to fail. You will never be fearless if your power depends on their approval. Listen, the world may not clap when you start. The crowd may stay silent when you grow. But your life isn't performance. It's a mission. You don't need everyone to understand your path. You just need to walk it. You will lose people. You will be doubted. You will be underestimated. Good. Let it fuel you. Let it sharpen you. Let every you can't echo in your bones until your actions scream, "Watch me." You want to be fearless? Then get ready to stand alone. Get ready to believe when no one claps. To move forward when no one sees you. To bet on yourself when no one else will. Because the day will come when the same people who doubted you will whisper, "I always knew they had it in them." Let them whisper. You'll be too busy building, too focused to flinch, too committed to stop. Because fearless isn't loud. It's not flashy. It's not about proving them wrong. It's about proving yourself right. So stand tall, speak louder, show up fully, even if your voice shakes, even if your hands tremble. You were not born to fit in. You were born to break through. Don't ask for approval. Don't wait for applause. Don't shrink to make them comfortable. Grow, stretch, climb, even if they laugh, even if they doubt. Rise anyway, because fearless isn't how you feel. It's what you decide. But the final test? It's not external. It's not fear. It's not doubt. It's this. Can you live with full power and full peace? Can you rise and stay grounded? Can you win and still be whole? The final challenge awaits. You've risen. You've fought the voice in your head. You stood tall in the face of judgment. You've chased a version of yourself that once felt impossible. But now comes the final battle. The hardest one. The battle between your power and your peace. Because the real question isn't, can you rise? It's, can you rise without losing yourself? So many people fight to become fearless. And when they get there, they become addicted to fire, addicted to the hustle, addicted to the noise. They climb the mountain, only to find they don't even recognize themselves at the top. But fearless isn't just about how far you go. It's about how deeply you're rooted. It's not about pushing 24/7. It's about knowing when to pause, when to breathe, when to listen to your own soul. Because what's the point of winning the world if you lose your peace to get there? You see, being fearless isn't about being loud. It's about being clear. Clear in who you are. Clear in what you stand for. Clear in what matters. It's about waking up and knowing, I'm not running from anything today. Not from failure. Not from judgment. Not from myself. Because the fearless don't just walk through fire, they walk through silence. They can sit with themselves. They can live without applause. They can lead without needing to prove anything. And that kind of strength, that's unshakable. That's what creates peace in the storm. So here you are. You failed. You fought. You've risen. And now, you're ready. Ready to stop chasing and start creating. Ready to stop fearing and start living. Not for the approval, not for the noise, but because you finally believe you are enough without the title, without the followers, without the mask. You are enough. This is the real meaning of fearless. Not perfection, not dominance, but freedom. The kind of freedom that lets you rest and still feel worthy. That lets you grow and still feel grounded. That lets you stand tall without shouting. This isn't the end of your journey. This is the beginning of a new one. Not from failure to fearless, but from fearless to fulfilled. So now the only question left is, will you live like it? Will you stop apologizing for your greatness? Will you stop hiding your power just to make others comfortable? Will you let peace and passion live in the same breath? Because you don't have to choose between being powerful and being whole. You don't have to choose between fire and freedom. You're allowed to be both. So go live loud and love quiet. Go chase dreams and protect your peace. Go rise without rushing. Because the real fearless, they don't just conquer the world. They come home to themselves. This is your time. Not to begin again, but to finally be all that you are. No fear, no mask, no limits. From failure to fearless and far, far beyond. Your next chapter begins now.